So we've formally begun our retreat. The Devas have sprinkled holy water on us in anumodana of our efforts. Quite a sprinkle, a flood, just to get you in the mood for practicing with changing conditions, which is what life is all about, isn't it? Sometimes it's dry, sometimes wet, hot, cold, up, down, hungry, full, quiet, noisy, comfortable, uncomfortable. That's life, isn't it? Full of change, changing conditions. And we've got a chance to come and study that, learn how we deal with that, and how we react to changing conditions during this retreat. So the Buddha gave us these teachings as a way to learn about ourselves, learn about life. Particularly learn about this thing we call Kamma, this central teaching of the Buddhist path is developing an understanding of Kamma and then practicing accordingly to that understanding. Meaning that human beings, we constantly making karma through our volitional actions or intentional actions every day, every moment of every day. We're making karma and receiving the fruits, the results of the karma we've made already. And then the karma we're making right now will bring fruits back to us, results back to us. And the Buddha pointed out that we're kind of trapped because we keep making karma and then receiving the results of our karma, good and bad, depending on the quality of our intention. We're trapped in a cycle of birth and death. Why are we here? Sometimes we have that question. Or because we made karma in the past. What will happen when we die? Well, that will also depend on the karma we make. You don't have to wait until you die. Just what will happen over the next few days on this retreat? Well, that will also depend on karma. How your body is karma generated, how your mind is. So this is something very important the Buddha encouraged us to learn about, give time to. And he noted that we make karma in 3 ways. Through body, physical actions, speech, verbal action, and in mind, through our thoughts, mano karma. So kaya karma, vaji karma, mano karma. Good intention means rooted in non-greed, non-anger, non-delusion. So something wholesome, a wholesome intention expressed through either thought or speech or action is good karma. So for example, we just chanted Sabbe Sattha Sukhita Hontu. May all beings be well. So just bringing up that thought and that intention reciting the words is already some small act of good karma. The opposite would be bad karma, maybe. May all beings be miserable, in pain, suffering. Whether it's all beings or just one being who you're annoyed or angry with. That's the opposite, isn't it? That's bad karma, maybe just a thought. But if we verbalize it or act, then it becomes stronger. So at every moment in our life, we have this choice whether to make good karma or bad karma. The highest good karma is the karma for getting out of this whole cycle of karma. And that's cultivating the Noble Eightfold Path, Atangika Magga. Cultivating these different eight different factors we call sila, samadhi, panya in brief. So morality, concentration, wisdom. As we cultivate this path, we are creating good karma, ultimately for the ending of all karma, which is nibbana. Somebody who reaches nibbana isn't making karma anymore. They've gone beyond the karma-making process. They don't have to experience birth or death anymore, so they experience what we call the deathless. They no longer have an attachment to self. So there's no longer anything to make karma. It's finished. Even if they're still alive, like an arahant who's still alive, is still living and breathing, doing things. But they say the arahant doesn't make any more karma because there's no more attachment to a self. The idea of a self, belief in a self, has gone. So everything the arahant does is just what we call kirya. It's just behavior, and it will be good behavior because it's an expression of wisdom and compassion of the pure mind of an arahant. But they don't make any more karma. They don't set into process this cause and effect. So there's no more rebirth for the arahant. That's why it's considered, nibbana is considered the highest happiness. No more 9 months in the womb. No more struggles with disease and birth and the pain of birth and then the difficulties of living and growing up as a human being. All finished for the arahant. Whatever you don't like about life, no more of that for the arahant. Finished. But it comes out of cultivating this Noble Eightfold Path to go ultimately beyond karma. But while we're still making karma, the Buddha encouraged us to make good karma for our own happiness here and now, and then for the happiness in the future as well. For the benefit of ourselves and the benefit of others too. But to know what kind of karma we're making takes some reflection and some learning as well. The Buddha taught that generally humans, we fall into different groups. Some humans believe that they don't believe in karma as the Buddha taught. They believe everything is just kind of random. The fact that we're here is just random, a fluke, a chance. And there's no bigger or deeper meaning to life than that. We just randomly occurred in a mother's womb, born, living here. When we die, that's the end of it. It's all just kind of a random freak accident, you might say. And karma doesn't really matter, it doesn't affect us. Because when we die, that's the end of it. Some people think that good and evil, good and bad karma, they're just things that we make up. Maybe make up to teach kids to be good, or teach adults, keep them in line. I guess you could call it a form of, people who think like that, they think it is a form of conspiracy theory. In karma, it doesn't exist, it's all random. It's just somebody or other is trying to control you, or make you do certain things. And even the concept of karma in Buddhism is sometimes taught like that. Sometimes you meet monks who give fire and brimstone talks. Don't do evil or you'll be reborn in the hell realm. Maybe sometimes that's a useful way to talk if someone is very stubborn, but it can have its drawbacks as well. Other people, they just believe that it's all destiny, predetermined, nothing you can do anyway, because the pattern of your life is all just set down already. Whatever happens, happens. Good, it's all predetermined. Bad, predetermined. Nothing you can do about it, so why bother? Just give up. It's all an illusion anyway. There's no one here, and it's just events come along. It's all predetermined, like a film script. It's already decided for you. So there's no point trying to do any good or bad or anything. It doesn't matter. The Buddha said, no, it's not. It does matter. You can influence things. You can make good karma, you can make bad karma. You have some say in it. Another group of people think it's all determined by a superior being, a creator God, some higher force, universal being. It's part of their universal design or plan. And again, there's not much you can do because it's all the will of a God or this superior being. The Buddha, through his own practice and reflection, said, no, you have a role to play here. You have to be responsible for your own actions. Doesn't mean to say there aren't gods and higher beings, but doesn't mean to say that we haven't made karma in the past which is giving results, which we can't avoid. But it's not all predetermined, and it's not all determined by gods or God. We have our own responsibility for what we do. So a big part of the Buddhist practice is developing this understanding and insight into karma. What is good karma, what is bad, and then acting, practicing accordingly. Like the Buddha taught his son Rahula, he said, make your mind like a mirror to reflect your actions and your intentions so you can see what kind of karma you're making. As we practice, the Buddha encouraged us to seek out teachers and Kalyana Mitta, fellow practitioners who already have some understanding of this path, what is good and bad karma, what is a wise, good way to live. They can help us in the beginning because our own mirror is not working very well. It's a bit dusty, or it's not clear yet. So we need teachers to help us, teachings from the Buddha and from noble ones in Kalyana Mitta. But then our aim is to develop the clarity of our own mind, our own mirror, polish it up so that it's something you can rely on for yourself. Even if the teacher's not there or the Buddha is not there, we have our own way to know about what karma we're making from moment to moment, day by day. So you could call this retreat a time where you're polishing, cleaning your own mirror, the mirror of your mind. So you can learn. And it's a chance, a very good chance, good opportunity to learn about yourself, what kind of karma you've been making so far in your life. Because you'll notice that as you're sitting here or walking or going around the monastery, it's a quiet, peaceful place. So that helps you to bring your attention inwards and see the kind of karma that's coming up, the results of your karma that you've made in the past, and then what intentions you're developing right here, right now, and what they will lead on to as well. As you practice meditation, we talk about cultivating other parts of the Buddhist path, not just reflecting on karma, but cultivating right effort, your effort to abandon those negative intentions and to bring up the positive, wholesome ones. Right mindfulness, so that we're learning to pay attention, focus our mind firstly on the kind of karma we're making, but then more deeply on this human being we have here, to see what it is. Focus on the body and the mind, to get to know it better, to see the process of cause and result at work, and also to develop states of calm and clarity, like states of samadhi. When the mind is well developed and in a state of calm samadhi, it's like the mirror of the mind is very well cleaned, polished, so it reflects even the tiniest speck of dirt. So we need samadhi, right samadhi as well. As you practice this, you get to know your own mind and you can see karma at work, how you maybe fall into old habits. Even in a monastery, you could be sitting here, walking around, and old habits of mind, desires, things you want and like that you're thinking of, things you don't want and want to get rid of, things you don't like, will be coming up. Part of our practice is to train ourselves not to reinforce old karma and old habits, the negative ones. So like when you take on precepts, you keep 5 precepts or 8 precepts here. Already you're making a clear determination or aspiration to say, well, I'm not going to do certain actions that maybe in the past I have. And this is refining your mind, removing some of the intentions, because by not acting on them, they gradually fade out from your mind. Like the intention to kill. Maybe normally at home, in work, you don't have much intention to kill because you're not in a situation where that temptation comes up. Perhaps in the monastery, suddenly it arises more than before, because there's bugs and creatures around. So you may notice certain intentions come up that you're not used to, not familiar with, but that's good. It helps you to sort your mind, sort out and see and know some of your karma intentions more clearly. So if you are disturbed by a fly or mosquito or something else, you may see the desire to just get rid of it, crush it, squash it. But if you become mindful of your precepts at that moment, you can say, that would be following a negative karma, the desire to kill, destroy, hurt. I won't do that. If you keep doing that, the intentions in your mind will change. Your reactions, your instincts change over time. Sometimes in just a space of one retreat. Often it takes a bit longer. But you can train yourself to not think of killing mosquitoes and flies and anything else. You start removing the intention to be violent, physically violent, aggressive towards other animals or people. And you're changing your whole consciousness and mind in the process. It may be very small, little changes, one by one, little by little, moment by moment. So in that way you could say, well, I'll welcome all the flies and mosquitoes and bugs that I encounter on this retreat because they're all helping me to change for the better. And so we call them our teachers. Ajahn, as Ajahn Chah would say, Ajahn Mosquito. Ajahn Fly, being one. They become our teachers because they help to highlight to us our own intention. The mosquito, the fly, the ant is here. What am I going to do? Am I going to destroy it, or am I going to cultivate tolerance, patience, or at the very least just restrain my intention to kill? So that bug is helping you go up a bit, go a bit towards Nibbana a bit. By making you mindful of your intention, and you abandon the intention to kill, and then it will come up less and less as you practice more. Same with our verbal intentions. Sometimes we have the reaction, we are irritated, annoyed, frustrated, unhappy about something, so we say something in anger. Sometimes it's a more selfish thing, or we want to get something, speaking greed. But once you're keeping precepts and you're in a retreat situation like this, you'll see that intention. Maybe before you've even said anything, you just note it in your mind, say, there's no need to say this. You just drop it, let it go. Maybe you identify, that way of speaking is foolish, useless, or even harmful, hurtful to somebody else or group of people. Because you're practicing mindfulness and you are keeping precepts, you notice how the speech habits of mind are coming up, and they're coming up as thoughts first. So as you become more mindful, you may decide not to follow those intentions, not to put them into speech, into your mouth. And you say no to it, or you modify so you don't speak a lie or speak aggressively, unkindly to someone. Well, that is again moving you towards Nibbana and away from your old habits of making bad karma. And the way people change and eventually reach Nibbana is in this way. It's through these small moments of mindfulness, changing intention from bad to good, abandoning the bad, cultivating the good, over and over again, until the bad, the unwholesome intentions start to fade out. They don't even arise after a while. You notice when you're meditating, you practice mindfulness, say on the breathing, you have all kinds of mental chatter coming up. You may not be saying or doing very much, but mentally it will be there. So even on the level of thought, you're now looking and filtering out more negative thoughts and intentions. And if you experience some peace in your meditation, why is that? It's because you've let go of all those negative intentions, at least for a while. You're not thinking of murdering anyone. You're not thinking of stuffing your face full of cake or whatever it is. You're not thinking of all the other things that may be rooted in greed, anger, delusion. You're letting that go. So all that's left is the breath, or Buddha, or the meditation on metta. Whatever your meditation object is, your mind settles down on it because it's letting go of everything else. And all those negative intentions that stir your mind up, you're seeing them and letting them go. Maybe over and over again, little by little, moment by moment, until they go quiet. And then we call that samadhi. So samadhi is the continuous presence of wholesome states of mind. So it's a very powerful, good karma. It's not yet nibbana, but it's a taste of nibbana. It's very close to nibbana when your mind goes calm, if only for a few minutes, a few moments. Because all those negative intentions are set aside. And it has a very powerful conditioning effect on your mind, on your stream of consciousness, on who you are. If you practice, say, on retreat, you're practicing letting go of the thought to hurt, the thought to grab or get something that belongs to somebody else, the thought to cheat on your partner, the thought to tell a lie, the thought to get drunk. You're letting that go. That's very powerful, good karma. You're changing who you are, literally. Your body and your mind change from that. Where does an enlightened Buddha or an enlightened Arahant come from? It comes from many, many, many changes in their consciousness, abandoning unwholesome karma and intention, cultivating wholesome intention until the mind is just completely revolutionized. It's no longer what it was like before. And that can only come through many moments of practice. So one thing to remember on retreat is every small step with mindfulness, every breath in, breath out with mindfulness, every mouthful of food chewed and swallowed with mindfulness, every activity through the day is at a small moment of good karma, and it's changing you for the better. As they say, if you have a big jar, like today we had all this rain, if you have a bucket or a jar out in the rain, each drop of rain is actually tiny, but many drops of rain together gradually fill up your bucket until it's completely full or overflowing. Your mind is like that. You're gradually filling it up with all these moments of goodness, whether it's keeping precepts, practicing generosity, moments of mindfulness, moments of wisdom, insight, where you're letting something go because you see it suffering or the cause of suffering. These are like little drops of water filling up the bucket until eventually it's full. Again, when you develop a state of peace and calm, of samadhi, one thing that you feel at that moment is you feel full. You don't feel hungry, you don't feel bored, You don't feel restless, you feel full. But it's a fullness of mind. You may actually physically be hungry, but you don't feel it and you don't think about it. Your mind is full when it's in samadhi. There's some joy, it's enjoyable, rapture, there's some contentment. There's what we call unification of the mind. The mind is not dispersed, thinking all over the place, roaming here, roaming there. It's just settled down in one place. So you feel full. It's like all those drops of water that fill up the bucket. It's like drops of mindfulness and the good intentions of the practice fill up your mind till your mind is very still, peaceful, calm. And that's the best place to be able to learn even more on a more deeper level about the nature of your own body and mind and the world around you. It's like your mirror is at its cleanest, it's its best when the mind is still, full, peaceful. So maybe for tonight I'll just give you these words of instruction as a beginning point of this retreat, and we'll talk a bit more about the Dhamma practice over the next few days. But we'll end tonight while it's still a little bit light, give you a chance to get out if you want to go and check your tent, see where we're at with the weather and everything. But if you want to stay on, the hall will be open. You'll be able to stay and sit and walk. If you want to stay later, you can. But we'll leave it there for now.